Welcome to Eye on the Issues. Today we're talking with Kristi Racines, who is the state auditor for the state of Wyoming, of course. And Kristi, let's begin by talking about what does a state auditor do for people that don't really understand?
So thanks for having me, Mike. That's a great question and one I get asked often. And I think in each state, the answer is a little bit different. In Wyoming, the state auditor is an office that's pretty misunderstood. The best way to describe my job, or maybe a more accurate way to describe my job, is I'm the comptroller for the whole state. So essentially, an easy way to say it is I keep the books and cut the checks. So if you've ever gotten a check from the state of Wyoming, it comes from my office. In this capacity, I'm also the chief payroll officer for the state of Wyoming. So every check that goes out to state employees, legislators, National Guard members, judicial branch, et cetera, we do all of that, which of course involves then all of the tax submissions and reporting on that. Every check and every payment comes out of this office. And then the other sort of big statutory duty we have in terms of sort of accounting world is we produce the financial reports for the state. So similar to a business, the government has a balance sheet and income statement, just like a big corporation would. It's called something a little different since it's the government, but my office is required to produce that once a year. It's about 250 pages. We put it on our website. So that's out there if you ever have insomnia and would like to, know what happened in the state of Wyoming.
And let's dive over to WyOpen. Okay, one of the big things that, of course, many auditors around the country try to do is make sure that what they do and all the state money that's spent, there's a transparency about it. Tell us about WyOpen.
Sure. Thanks. And it's something my office is really proud of. So in my role as state auditor, I'm the official custodian of the accounting record for the state of Wyoming. So my office is the keeper of a lot of public records of the state, at least in a financial sense. So before I came into office, there were quite a few issues getting financial data from the state. From my predecessor, there had been a request for 5 years worth of the checkbook essentially. That request was denied over the course of years, and that's all in the rearview mirror. But it ultimately resulted in a lawsuit against the state. So when I came into office just over 4 years ago, I inherited a lawsuit on day one, which is super fun. But anyway, so one of my campaign promises was to sort of get that squared away, and we were able to do that in about 2 months. We released 6 years worth of expenditure data to the groups that we're suing, and that went over really well. And again, they're public records, right? They needed to be out there. No excuse. So we got those out there. But I am sort of the mindset that it's better to not wait until you get sued to do something. So to be more proactive, we wanted to actually put expenditures out online so that folks in the future wouldn't even have to request them. That was sort of a fun and exciting endeavor. I have some very, very talented folks on my IT staff. We have a really small staff overall, but a couple of those folks are IT guys and gals over the last several years. Put up a website called WyOpen.gov, and we did it essentially with no budget, just with time and salary of those folks. And we got that done in about 6 months. It was really fun and interesting because we were going for low cost options, but we wanted to get the data out there. And some of the beauty of that is, when you're putting out a website like that, security is something you worry about, right? Like, oh, we don't want anybody to hack the data. We didn't really have to worry about that because, hack away. Like we are actually trying to get these records out into the public. There's nothing there to steal that we don't want you to have already. So we got that website up. It went over really well. Over the last, 4 years, and I'll be candid, everybody was really glad we put the expenditure data out there, but not a whole lot of people actually went and looked at it, right? We want to know it's out there, but maybe we don't want to actually look at the millions of, lines of expenditure data until the federal government gave the state of Wyoming a bunch of CARES Act money, and the state of Wyoming started distributing those to businesses. All of a sudden, our hits to that site just exponentially went up during that time period. So it's had some sort of unintended uses that we didn't even think about, and I think ultimately has saved the state a whole bunch of public records requests, which again ultimately saves time and money.
Very good point. So let me ask you this. So what kind of, for the people that don't know about WyOpen, can they find basically every dollar spent by the state, or how does that play out?
Yep. So again, it's pretty basic, WyOpen.gov. Oh, I do have to say, I think the very, very hardest part about setting up the website was getting a .gov extension. I think the president himself has to bless it with his little pinky. It's very hard to get one of them, which is good. So WyOpen.gov, you can search by agency, type of expenditure, vendor, and we have data rolling back at least 5 years. And it's not every dollar of the state of Wyoming. So a lot of the expenditures of the state, if they are protected by law, meaning there's a specific law that says that expenditure is confidential, then that would not be out there. But by and large, most day-to-day expenditures of state agencies are going to be out there. And I'll give you an example of one that would be confidential. For example, certain payments from the divisions of victim services in the Attorney General's office might be confidential. So stuff like that might not be out there, but by and large, everything else is.
Got it. So let me ask you this. You've been in your job for a little more than 4 years. What do you like most about it?
Oh, wow. I like a lot about it. So first off, I'm a CPA by trade, so I'm a real nerd. I love Excel spreadsheets. I love numbers. I still get to do that. This job very much has political components, obviously, to it. It's an elected position for good reason. But I still get to do real numbers work and be helpful in that manner. But I think the thing I've learned, or the thing that I appreciate the most, is I get to learn a lot of new things every day, and that I don't want to say, oh man, I don't know anything, because that's not a way to get votes. Man, I know very little, but I'm a good learner, right? Mm-hmm. But the variety of issues that the top 5 electeds deal with in their capacity on the State Loan and Investment Board and the Board of Land Commissioners and the budget and the legislature, no one can go in knowing all of those things. And so it's really, really, I've just got to learn a lot of interesting things about my state that I love very much. I've lived here my whole life, and so that would probably be my favorite thing.
Speaking of Wyoming, what do you love most about your state?
I'm going to say the weather and how it keeps our population at a reasonable level. And I say that since we're under a substantial winter storm warning. I really like the opportunities that are provided in Wyoming. Our population is low. We all know each other. It's a place where nobody can get too big for their britches, because somebody will call your mom.
Fantastic.
So it's great.
That's a great answer. Well, Kristi, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.